So last week on the podcast, we very explicitly told you not to do this yet, but Merry Christmas. You can't tell me what to do. You know, because we spent a whole episode talking about letting Christmas be Christmas and letting Advent be Advent.
That
Now
wasn't
here we are
why I was
breaking our
making
own
faces
rule.
at you. My computer's for those of you who are listening and or watching, if anything weird happens today, it's because I thought we were recording later than we did, so I started a video rendering. So that's my computer's working on rendering a 1080p video right now. So if
This'll
it
be
decides it
fun.
just doesn't want to, that's why. That's anyway.
This'll be fun. This'll be fun.
Welcome to Cross Checking. We're a hot mess sometimes, but you're welcome. You're welcome to the party anyway. I'm one of your hosts, Josh Laborious. I'm a pastor southeast of Houston in Friendswood, Texas, at Hope Lutheran Church, and my hairier, deeper-voiced compadre is good old Benjamin Olschlager from somewhere that is way too cold for human habitation.
It's a little chilly up here today. I think the high is like
Okay,
20
what
something.
temperature are there was an argument in our comment section about, or not an argument. Someone posted 40s is freezing, which of course I replied, no, the freezing point of water is 32 degrees.
Or zero,
So
depending on if you're Canadian or not.
mid 40s is just cold. I'll concede that it's cold, but like freezing is 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
I don't even necessarily think
In
about
freedom units.
yeah, in freedom units. I don't necessarily even think about 40s as cold. Like it there are things that you can combine with it being in the 40s to make it cold. Like if it's overcast and windy, then yeah, 40s feels cold. But if it's sunny
Or humid.
or humid, yeah.
Cold is pervasive when it's humid. So
Cold and
welcome to
wet is
Houston.
also, yeah, cold and wet is not a great combination.
Because it's 50 degrees here. And I wouldn't say it's really cold, but it is, I think, it has gone past chilly when I walk outside. And part of that is it is still very humid. And also
Sure.
part of that is I've lived south of the Mason-Dixon line long enough that my blood has thinned out a little bit since my purgatory time in St. Louis.
St. Louis is not even that far north, Josh.
Yes, it is.
I recognize that you might call people who live in St. Louis Yankees, but
I would in fact say that loudly and aggressively.
it's not that far north. It's a state where they're known for their barbecue. Well, I guess specifically Kansas City and St. Louis, the cities are known for their barbecue. I know does not hold a candle to Texas.
Well, I
Or
saw a
Georgia,
map
for
the
that
other
matter.
day that it was a map of the United States and it said color coded based on quality of barbecue. Gray was don't know what they're doing, most of the country. Green was pretty good barbecue pretty consistently. That was Texas. And then thinks they know what they're doing but are lost fools. Kansas City, St. Louis, Kentucky were highlighted. Kentucky? No.
Tennessee? I don't know. I feel like
one of the states over, I don't know. I don't remember. Here's the thing. If anyone in your state, well, I shouldn't say that. If there is a significant population in your state that thinks it is acceptable to quote unquote barbecue in a crock pot, you're wrong. You're incorrect. False. False. You don't know what? Come get yourself a smoker. Oh man, shout out to John Keck, a member of my congregation. He brought some pork belly to the men's retreat, and I stole it. He gave me generously his recipe, and I smoked some pork belly the other day with some gochujang, like marinade and salt. Oh man, it was so good. That's not what we're here to talk about. Although pork belly for Christmas would be an acceptable Christmas dinner. I have no opposition to that. We
Yeah.
are here to
Or a
continue our
brisket.
kind of...
Just a whole brisket.
I'm not going to say no. I have to
What
say,
can
on
Noodles
my own
does?
smoker, I have not done a brisket yet because they can be difficult, I've been told. And it's a very expensive thing to screw up. So I'm a little apprehensive
That's fair.
about doing my own brisket because, oh man, those... Anyway,
That's fair.
we're here to talk about Christmas in our little interim series between season 8 and season 9,
What about a
where we're
whole pig
talking about some
roast?
holidays. What?
What about a whole pig roast?
We had that at also at the men's retreat. It's impressive. It's hard. I feel like it's hard to season a whole pig when you roast a whole pig.
Well, you got to split it open.
That's how you'd have to do it. My smoker's not big enough for that. It's I can fit... I know because I've done this, and I assure you it was the limit of what can fit in there. I fit 4 20-pound pork butts kind of stacked on a rack. That is the limit of what can fit in my smoker. Any more, and I would have to... I'd add a oil drum to one side. I don't know. I'm trying to get us back on task, and apparently I shouldn't have brought up barbecue with Ben on the podcast. Apparently that was a mistake.
I'm just picky about my meats. That's
I can respect that. You would fit in well here.
You don't have to be in the South to be picky about your meats.
That's true. Well, and places like where Ben lives are pretty good at sausage and that kind of stuff, especially. So props for that. Although there are a couple guys in the congregation who hunt, and their Axis sausage, especially, that's some good stuff. So Christmas, resolutely on task is what we are. I'm gonna pretend it didn't take us 7 minutes to find our freaking point. Oh jeez. Can you guys believe I've been putting up with this guy for 8 seasons and 4 years of seminary before that?
Josh, it's just we're giving the people a little Christmas experience, because we're telling them they actually need to wait for Christmas. So they actually need to wait for the real topic of the episode.
Is that what we're doing?
I think so. Perhaps not intentionally, but it's what we've done at this point.
Okay. So last week we talked about Advent, kind of this anticipation, and today we are going to focus on Christmas, but wrapped into that, we're going to talk a little bit about Christmas Eve, because it is just one holiday, and there's definitely not enough really to have substantive episodes on them separately. But I'm just going to start with what has been on the top of my list of things I'm mildly grouchy about at Christmas. I think you're going to like this.
Okay.
If you are even loosely affiliated with Christianity, so you only go to church once a year, or you only go to church when your family makes you, or anything like that, Christmas Eve is one of maybe 2 services a year that almost everyone goes to. And for whatever reason, we decided Christmas Eve, we're going to do Christmas Eve. And that service, like, to speak well, is part of a lot of families' traditions. And then somehow, Christmas Day is one of the lowest attended worship Sundays or worship days of the year. Brothers and sisters, this should not be the case. Like, people say the true meaning of you'll see a lot of movies and whatever, they find the true meaning of Christmas, and usually it's like a pullback on materialism. Like, the true meaning of Christmas is love and your family and stuff like feel good stuff like that. No, closer, but no, the true meaning of Christmas is the incarnation of Jesus Christ. So I don't care what traditions you have for Christmas morning, like either do them before worship or push them back to after worship. You should be in church on Christmas Day. This is my contention. It is we're celebrating Jesus' birthday. Go to the service.
You got work off that day because of Jesus' birthday. And
He's
then you were rude
speaking to
enough to
you
not even
guys. He
show
is
up to the
not
party.
speaking to me, and he is not speaking for himself. We do not get that day off of work.
Well, yeah, obviously. But like, if you are one of the majority of the people that are listening to this podcast and you are not a pastor who's working on Christmas Day, it's kind of rude to like get the day off for someone's birthday and then not show up to the party.
It's I'm going to think of a better example, but the first example that comes to mind is like if you go out and be as flagrantly racist as you can on Martin Luther King Day. Like you just what? No, you can't do that.
Maybe better example, it's like taking Valentine's off to go on a boys trip.
Yes. Yes, that's a much better example. First of all, if I edited these episodes, I would cut my example out. But I don't, so enjoy.
Or it's like,
Yeah, it's like
taking the 4th of July off to go to Canada. Why?
yeah, it's I mean, guys, it's we've missed the plot. Because what you're saying, if Christmas Day, you say, no, I got my church out of the way on Christmas Eve. First of all, we need to reframe how you're looking at worship. Because it's not a checklist. It's not like, well, I have to. Like, no one, first of all, no one's making you go. Well, that's not true. Your family might be trying to make you go.
They might literally be dragging you if you're.
We go to worship to praise our God for everything he's done for us, to respond in gratitude, to spend time in his word and prayer. So it's not like, well, I got mine out of the way. No, if you have an opportunity to worship, take it. It's supposed to be a gift, and it's supposed to be like an outpouring response for our salvation, not an obligation. And if we're going to list the things Jesus did that we are thankful for, that we should be that led to worship over, pretty high on that list is that he was willing to come down and slum it with us for 30 plus years. So you should be there on Christmas Eve. You should also be there on Christmas Day.
I'm going to throw in the additional caveat of like, there are too many good Christmas hymns to sing them all in one service. So like, you gotta, if you miss any of your favorites, come the next day, you'll probably hear
just so we're tracking this rightly. So last week Ben talked about how much he dislikes the Advent hymn selection. Pro Christmas hymn though. So
oh yeah,
for anyone keeping track of Ben's favorite hymn seasons, now you have it.
I mean, and Easter's first, Lent is second, then Christmas, then Advent.
No one's allowed to share this episode with my director of youth ministry or my director of children's ministry. Lent is definitely my favorite hymn season because it is the church's angsty emo hymn season, and that is what I live for. That is what I live for. But with Christmas Day, more often than not, why aren't we going to church on Christmas Day? Well, you have some tradition with, like growing up, we got up. Dad always made something called monkey bread. I don't know if that translates to anyone or if that was just a my family thing.
It does.
But
take biscuits from a can, chunk them up, roll them in cinnamon sugar, throw them in a pot. Somehow, like one of the 15 greatest cultural and culinary delicacies ever created, despite the fact that the ingredients probably cost you like $6.55 at a store.
Yeah, So we had that.
Oh,
We
and
sat
butter.
around in our
Butter makes everything better.
PJs opening gifts. And I know a lot of people have different traditions on Christmas, but if we say no, I'm doing these family things, or I'm doing these, these gift things, like whatever you're doing, is it more important to you than taking an hour or taking an hour and a half, whatever the case may be, to thank the God who came to earth for you?
I think maybe a better way for us to think about this is not like in terms of importance, because mindset thing, it might be more important to you to spend time with family because like sometimes we don't see family a whole lot, and so that's the priority that we have in that time. But
Take them to church.
yeah, like
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
and
I told you I
I
was going to be grouchy about this, so I'm holding
yeah,
up
so
my promises.
I'm trying to offer a little grace here. I understand why people's habits are the way that they are. Like when you have family around, it's hard to want to step away from that. But I would encourage you, like, set your heart in a pattern after the things that are most important, which Jesus comes first, family comes second, maybe
I'm
third,
good with
depending
family
on
coming second.
yeah, like it's either family or your church community second. Um, like extended family, immediate family definitely comes second. Then like extended family, church family, you could argue for third. Um, but yeah, like recognize what should be at the center and the priority of all of the things that we do. Make that a
Yeah.
priority with your family too.
Well,
And
and
like
here's some.
Christmas Day services are oftentimes like 45 minutes.
Yeah, they're not long.
No.
Even for us Hope members who are going to roll your eyes at me talking about short services, they're not long. Um, and here's the other thing, and I'm gonna this transcends just Christmas, because there's this, well, Christmas morning is all cozy and you're in your pajamas, and like,
Come in your pajamas. I don't
come
care.
in your PJs. I don't. Would it maybe be ideal if you dressed in your Sunday best? Sure, I guess.
Josh,
Would I
who
rather
do we
you be
celebrate?
here?
Who do we celebrate having visited the we'll call him the child Jesus?
Are you gonna make a joke about the wise men wearing pajamas?
No, no. That's half of it. What's the other half? Who else do we show in our
Shepherds.
like, yeah, like guys literally covered in crap came to visit the King of Kings the
Well,
night
and
that he was
I have the
born.
same comment about people who got really used to watching services online.
Mm.
If it's because you don't want to change out of your PJs, just come. I would rather you be here in your PJs than not be here.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, a couple of
So,
years ago, I had a service on Christmas Day. I called it a service of shepherds and kings. And I told the congregation, I don't care if you roll out of bed and you're here, your hair's messed up, but you're in your PJs, whatever. I don't care if you take, 45 minutes, put on a suit, dress yourselves to the nines. Like, Jesus got visited by everything from shepherds to kings and everything in between. Like,
come on
just
down.
just come to church.
Yeah.
Like, if we need to, we can get some like distilled frankincense or something and spray everybody down on the way in so that
Man, why does your Christmas Day service have incense? It's the only. People stank when they came in, so we started swinging. But kind of moving on, we're not going to spend this whole episode telling you to go to church on Christmas Day, even though you should. We're going to talk a little bit about Christmas. I don't know where Ben was planning to go with this, but I got a couple things I'll throw out there. You take them wherever you want, Ben. The first
sure.
is, I think we could talk a little bit about the frankly silly myth that Christmas is just a co-opted pagan holiday.
Oh yeah.
And
So there's a great for those of you who have not heard of Wes Huff, he's a Canadian apologist. Great dude. Really silly accent. He does sound Canadian. He did a great like 4 or 5 minute video Actually, it might have been longer than that even. Just breaking down some of the most common accusations about Christianity co-opting pagan holidays and traditions and turning them into Christmas traditions. And you can debunk just about every one. The only one that really has anything like that is Christmas trees. And that's because, like, one, the kind of tree that the pagans used was a different kind of tree than an evergreen. But they did decorate trees in honor of, I think it was Donner, the German god of thunder. And I can't remember which saint it was, but there was one saint that was bold enough to walk into a town, chop down their sacred tree, and point at a different tree and goes, "See how that one never dies? Like in the winter? That's what Jesus is. He never dies."
Sure, that worked out well for him.
I think it actually did.
Oh,
Yeah,
lucky fella.
surprisingly.
I do want to
when
run through.
What's his name? The guy who was a coward.
Starscream.
No. Book of
For anyone who
Judges.
misses that quote in the first Transformers, the comment is cowards do survive.
Yeah. No. Why am I blank? Oh, Gideon. Chops down his father's Asher poles and Baals.
Oh yeah, and then like hides behind his dad.
Exactly. I think it was a little braver than that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
so
it's
any
just,
case,
the accusations are made up. There's a great resource. I'll send it to Josh, and maybe you can link it to the video.
Yeah, we'll see. On the date specific, because there's so many. Jesus wasn't born in December. He was born in. Okay, I don't know this off the top of my head. I'm looking over here at notes for when I taught at Irvine. So Zechariah, Zechariah was a priest of the division of Abijah, which means he would have been assigned to serve somewhere in late September. This kind of start. The priestly schedule is very well defined. It's pretty easy to get close on dates for that. So, because of when Zechariah was serving, that puts John the Baptist's birth sometime in late June. So the church has typically celebrated that on June 24th, but somewhere in late June. Luke specifies that 6 months later, Gabriel goes to Mary, which puts our timeline in late March. Church always celebrates that on March 25th. And 9 months from March 25th is December 25th. Okay. The festival that people love to say Christians co-opted, called Sol Invictus, was established in 274 AD by the Romans. Notably, many years after Jesus was born. And
also,
Christians started celebrating on the 25th. In
on the
fact,
wrong day.
there is some evidence. I'm almost done with my notes, I promise.
Okay.
There's some evidence that in 354 AD, Julian the Apostate established Natalis Sol Invictus on the 25th in an effort to move the population back to pagan practices from Christian ones. So if anyone co-opted December 25th, it was the pagans, not the Christians.
There you go, Josh.
Now I'm done. I'm done. Those were my notes on December 25th.
Yeah. No, I mean that's it. The other fun one, there was a tradition in Jewish thought at the time that Jesus was around, that great and significant figures in the world would die on the day they were conceived. And the traditional date for Jesus' death is actually March 25th.
I think I have heard that before.
So, like, I don't know. There's enough things that kind of point to it being potentially probably accurate. And even if it wasn't, the early church pretty quickly settled on a date that they thought was accurate, and they didn't just pick it to pick it like another deity's date. They picked it because they thought it was right, and they just started celebrating on that day. Like, if Josh and I, like, we have birthdays one day apart, but if Josh and I didn't know our birthday, but we had some like vague clues, we could take a stab and just pick a day. And you know what? If I started celebrating my birthday on the 4th of July because I had it off every year and it was close enough, would that be that big a problem? No, not really. Because did Jesus still die for me? Even if I don't know my birthday?
That is the other note. Even if December 25th is just the day that we're going to use, it doesn't matter. Like, Jesus was still born, and we can set, like, and everyone understands this about their own birthdays. If you are a working adult and your birthday is on a Tuesday, you're probably not going out on Tuesday night to celebrate your birthday. You're going to celebrate it on Friday when it's more convenient and you don't have to get up early the next day. Anyway.
Or you might just not celebrate because you're an adult.
Oh, we might catch some heat for that in the comments.
I mean, like, you have a cake with your family at home and maybe get some socks, and like that's fine. I don't need to go party because I turned another year older. Like, that's fine. When kids are doing it, that's a lot of fun because like you got a lot of milestones to work through. But once you can rent a car, then there's nothing really till you can like sign up for AARP, and I don't.
Yeah, it's 25th. Your 25th birthday is significant because your insurance gets cheaper.
Yep.
And then it doesn't matter until you can start collecting retirement benefits and such.
Yeah, or get the discount at Perkins
Yeah.
or Denny's or whatever your local pancake chain is. IHOP, Waffle House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Christmas. I feel like there was something else.
Josh, what's your favorite part of Christmas?
Oh, the only other. Hold on. I remember the other thing because apparently I'm in a grouchy, nitpicky mood today. Because the other thing I want to nitpick isn't a big one, and this isn't going to surprise most people, but just a note: the Magi were not there on Christmas. They got there when Jesus was a little. I mean, he was still
Like
a baby,
2.5, 3 years old, somewhere in there.
but he was probably toddling around at that point. So that's why Herod orders all the kids, I think 3 and younger, to be killed because that's
Yeah.
his safe window for. Anyway, so favorite part of Christmas? Ooh, do you have one in mind already that you can go so I can think about it?
Yeah.
Go, Ben, go. Go, Ben, go.
I love Christmas dinner. Like, it's not often. It's kind of like Thanksgiving where like you get a whole day off. And that means that people often put more effort into the food. And when you get those kind of days, like, you get good results.
You hope. Either good results or a burned down house.
Fair. Yeah.
I think my favorite part of Christmas is just kind of the lazy afternoon.
Mm.
Like you go to church, you do the gifts and whatever other. I feel like a lot of Christmas traditions tend to get front loaded, and then in the afternoon, you kind of maybe if you have kids in the house, they're building their new Lego sets, so they're playing with their new toys, and the adults are kind of just hanging out, maybe recovering a little bit, and I kind of live for those Christmas Day is one example, but I those moments where everybody's just like, you know what, collectively, let's just chill for a minute, and that might be my favorite part. Yeah. What's your favorite Christmas decoration?
Christmas decoration? I mean, I don't know if it counts as a decoration because it's often the thing that you decorate, but I do like a good real Christmas tree. Because I'm a sucker for the smell of pine. Like, I've mentioned to multiple people in the last couple of weeks that I would not mind if Home Depot just created a scented candle out of the smell of their stores, which often smell a lot like pine sawdust.
Because they have 2 entire aisles of pine.
Yeah, exactly.
Dimensional lumber.
Exactly. Yeah, it smells like pine sawdust and childhood Saturdays with Dad. Like, what's better, right?
Until Ben sees the flashlights in the aisle, then he has flashbacks. The joke there, for anyone who missed it, is if you don't hold the flashlight right, there are consequences.
Yeah, I think at our house, usually the consequence was just like Dad telling you to go away, and he would try and hold it himself somehow.
The teeth is good.
Yeah.
I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was very excited that they got a new flashlight. That was the breaking news in my parents' house is they got a new flashlight for when they go on walks. It's very on brand.
I'm happy for your dad. I am.
Me too. I'm glad. I'm happy he's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think my favorite Christmas decoration. I love well done Christmas light, like on the outside of a house.
Mm.
I think there are definitely people who go too far. Like I'm not a proponent of covering every square inch of all of your lawn and house in lights. I think that's so like some tasteful balance there. The roof line is good. Some people around here line their garages, like the edge of the garage, and that looks pretty good. Trees, bushes, that kind of stuff. One of my neighbors lined the edge of their lawn, which I would never have thought to do, but at night it looks really, really good.
Hmm.
So yeah, the lights. We at my house we put up the permanent Christmas lights. So the permanent outdoor lights. Right now they're Christmassy, but during other seasons I can change the color and the pattern and whatever else. So they're not fun to install, but I never have to install them again.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's a good thing Riverside cuts out silence for us.
I mean, sometimes the deep dramatic pauses are also not the worst thing in the world.
That's true. That wasn't one of them.
Fair.
So what else Christmassy do you want to should we talk about the Christmas story?
That's maybe not a bad thing.
Is it bad that we didn't lead with that? We probably should have led with that.
Like, if you're here, you probably know the Christmas story at this point.
That's a fair point. If you're listening to our podcast, you've probably heard it once or twice.
Maybe we just end with this. Like, this is now our 5th Christmas as pastors, right? Over the 5 years now that you've been looking at the Christmas story and prepping sermons for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, etc. What's one thing that you've learned about Christmas that was new to you?
Oh, that's a really good question. The thing that this isn't an answer to your question, but I'm
Mm.
thinking about the Christmas sermons I have preached. And the one that stands out is the one I focused briefly on Joseph's likely assumption that Mary had cheated on him. And then I had some parents come up to me afterward because apparently that led to some conversations they didn't want to have yet with some of their younger kids in the car on the way home. So, oops. But also, I don't know what you want me to do, man.
Something about a virgin birth is going to make you have to answer some of those questions.
Yeah.
I remember, like, we just got through the Apostles' Creed in our first communion class. And I do that with fourth graders, and they let me know that there were some conversations had after we uh, talked about being born of a virgin, what that meant. Because I specifically said, I don't know how you've talked about this with your parents. Just know this is not the normal way this gets done. You can ask your parents about it when you get home. I heard about it.
Well played. Well, I like that. I don't know what you've said. Ask them.
Exactly.
But I'm thinking back, and this came up in my Advent sermon last night. But it's a line, and maybe that's why it's sticking out in my memory. But let the humility of the manger remind us of the victory of the cross. And it reminds me a little bit of the Christmas play that my parents' church did a lot when I was, I think, 2 or 3 times when I was in high school, called Rough Wood and Rusty Nails. And kind of the movement of that was like the rough wood and rusty nails of the manger, and then the rough wood and rusty nails of the cross. So it's a cool connection. Christmas is one, I don't know if you have the same feeling. Christmas definitely falls in that category of days I don't love to preach, because you have to preach on the Christmas that, like, you can't on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, you can't preach on First Corinthians. That's not, you're preaching on the Christmas story. And there's only so much you can do with it. And the other thing is, I don't know, it's just it's hard to write a sermon when I look out and think most, like, half the people in this congregation have heard 50 Christmas Day sermons, all talking about Jesus being born of the Virgin Mary. And how can I bring something that deepens their understanding or renews their appreciation, or like, how can the sermon do what a sermon is supposed to do?
I'm preaching on Titus.
Of course you are.
I mean, here's the thing. I think that's something we kind of do to limit ourselves as pastors, is that we talk about the same thing over and over and over again. And the reality is, yeah, that same story is still the same story, and a lot of the cultural, like, nuggets that we could drop in there are the same cultural nuggets that we could drop in there. But there is so much else in Scripture that points us to the incredible reality of what it meant that Christ walked among us. And there are new things every year that are happening that remind us how important it is that he walked among us. And there are new things happening every year that help us better reflect on how it is that Christ walked among us. And I think that's the kind of the interesting part for me every year is, like, yeah, a lot of the cultural things are still the same. Like the good news is still the same, that God came to walk among us, and that's still good news. But how that good news relates to our people changes every year, whether we want to think about it that way or not. And makes it hard, makes it definitely more difficult to write a Christmas sermon every year, because you actually have to, like, think, like, I can't imagine. We had a classmate a couple years ago who showed up like 2 weeks before Easter at his church, and I feel like the same kind of applies there, where you get to a brand new congregation, you know nothing about their lives, nothing about the people, and you have to preach them a sermon on the good news of Easter, a story that they've heard a million times, and you don't necessarily have a way to offer them much that's new, other than the fact that you're new. But like at Christmas, when you know your people, and at Easter, when you know your people, you can share that same incredible story on an incredibly personal level with your people, and I think that's like the fun part of the exercise for me every year.
I can see that. Yeah.
I just made Josh concede a point.
I said I can see that. I'm still looking at Christmas thinking I'm not looking forward to writing this sermon. So calm down. Don't get too excited. Ugh.
I'm sorry that your predators have you so in the dumps that you can't be excited about Christmas.
I'm excited about Christmas, just not preaching on Christmas. Oh, anything else on Christmas or?
I no, and I think we can kind of get to empty netters here, and I can make this my empty netter. When you go to church on Christmas, I'm not going to make this an if, but a when you go to church on Christmas, there are going to be all sorts of other things buzzing around in your head. Hopefully you didn't leave a roast in at home and you're worried about your house burning down the whole time. Would not recommend. But to the best of your ability, for that 45 minutes to an hour 15 that your service is probably going to take, just chill for a bit. Let the incredible wonder of the moment and the day just simmer in your heart, in your mind, and take it easy. God wants you to rest with him for a moment.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
I think the empty netter I want to throw in there is just a reminder. It goes hand in hand with Ben's that the reason for all of this is that the God of all creation came down here for you. And even if you were the only one, he still would have done it. And that's pretty incredible. That's worth resting in. So
I have a second empty netter quick.
that happens a lot against the Preds, so I guess go for it.
Touche. Yeah, sorry.
Mike Hurley, if you listen to these, I'm sorry. He has become he's become a Preds fan with me, and it is not a good time to start being a Preds fan. So I'm sorry if I'm salting the wound.
Yeah. My second empty netter here is maybe don't wear your Jesus is the reason for the season shirt. I get what you're trying to say, but it's also kind of passive aggressive towards the people that we want to genuinely hear the good news of Jesus at Christmas. And I think it might be more of a turnoff than a help. So just consider not putting up the sign, not wearing the button, not wearing the t-shirt this year. Because I think you might open more doors to conversations than you have in the past when you didn't.
You know how you can really showcase to people in your life that Jesus should be the center of the season? By setting aside time to go to church on Christmas Day. We have come full circle.
We have. I was actually going to suggest a Christian-themed ugly sweater will probably encourage more conversations around the meaning of the holiday. than anything that says Jesus is the reason for the season.
I have a Christian ugly Christmas sweater that has Jesus in goalie pads.
I love that for you.
And it says Jesus. I think it says Jesus saves underneath it. It's great. It's great. It's top tier Christmas sweater right there. So
That is beautiful. I just have a polo that has cactuses and Santa hats for some reason.
You're a weird guy, Ben.
Yep.
You're a weird guy.
Yep.
Brothers and sisters, go in peace. Serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thank you for listening in to this episode of Cross-Checking, a ministry of Hope and Good Shepherd Lutheran Churches, where we strive to deepen your understanding of the faith and help apply it to daily life. If this podcast is helpful to you, rate the podcast, subscribe to us on your favorite platform, and share it with others who might also gain something from it.